What is going on, my beautiful friends and family, and welcome back to another video here on my channel. Today we're doing a mukbang, which if you don't know already is basically just me eating a meal while chatting with you guys. And today in this video I'm going to be updating you on what's been happening in my life lately, what's going on with my parents, and then a bunch of other things and a couple of vegan topics that I really want to go through. But first, before we get into any of that, I want to show you what I've got here for our meal. So I homemade this pizza, literally made the dough from scratch, put some Tantilo sauce on there, a little bit of some Violife mozzarella, and then some Beehive, I think is the name of it, vegan pepperoni. A little mini pizza is gonna be perfect. So without further ado, cheers. Just strap in, get yourself a meal, maybe pause the video, get yourself some snacks or something, and just eat along with me, and let's just chat. If you don't follow my Instagram story, this past weekend, I went to Arizona with my parents. My parents are getting close to retirement. So my dad actually probably should have retired a couple years ago. My entire life, this man has worked Monday through Saturday. Some years of my life when I was younger, he would work Monday through Sunday, literally no days off. He's the guy who made that hashtag, no days off. That's where a lot of my work ethic comes from, is from my dad. I think he's now 66. Time for him to retire. And so that's been a big thing. I've been helping them. Basically, like I bought like a whiteboard and like been helping them kind of figure out the details of everything. And one of the cities that we're looking at is a place in Arizona. So I was like, instead of just talking about it, instead of looking at it online, it's so much easier if you can actually see it. So I bought an Airbnb for them. We went out together and it was just Friday through Sunday, but it was so freaking cool just to be able to see the city in person. But also I haven't gone on vacation with my parents since I was, I think, like 10. We used to go to RV parks, trailer parks and stuff. I haven't been on a vacation with them in a long time. So that was really fun. Oh my gosh, it's so good. These pepperonis, I don't know what's up with them, but they're really freaking good. Quick poll, you guys put anything on your pizza after it's already served? So I used to put Parmesan, like powdered cheese on there before I was vegan. Now I'll put nutritional yeast on there. There's none right now, but usually I will. I'm out. And then do you dip it in anything? Which I definitely dip it into Hello Ranch. Also, do you guys eat the crust or do you just eat up to it like this? Some people pull that and then just leave a bunch of crust all over the plate. My parents both definitely needed it. Like, my parents are never out of the house. My dad's always working. My mom's always here, taking care of everything. And so it was just really nice to be able to take them on vacation, as well as be able to help them move forward with their retirement plans. So now that that's there, we can work on the next steps towards, you know, finally getting them to move from California to over there. I feel like that's a pretty popular thing though. People leaving California right now. Like, honestly, even I kind of am thinking about it. I'm at this point now where I'm not sure if I'm going to rent for a year somewhere in California, maybe LA or something like that, just so that I can be close to where it's happening and close to my friends who are in LA, or if I want to move somewhere that's really cheap and own my first house. It's really hard. It's actually a really difficult decision. I really don't know what the plan is, but like obviously my ultimate plan is to own a lot of different properties and rent them. So I'm not there yet. So that's what my goal is that I'm trying to build towards. I'm not sure if that's something that I would want to do in California or somewhere else where my money goes farther. I don't know. What do you guys think about it? Oh my gosh. Dude, Violife cheese is so much better than Daiya cheese. I know I've said this before, but Violife cheese just shouldn't even exist. As far as what's happening in my personal life, you guys know I've been wanting to do mountaineering. I know you've heard me talk about my injury. I'm coming to the tail end of that. See my physical therapist tomorrow, so I'm going to see if I can get back to my training and what she thinks. She's been having me do really short runs to see how my ankle reacts to that. So far, so good. So we'll see if we can start ramping up. Really want to get into some crazy training, but I'm okay with taking it slow so that I can do it for a long time, not just fun for a couple weeks before I injure myself again. Then there's also like this burning desire that I really want to rap. And I know a lot of you don't know this, but I've been rapping since I was like a little kid. I actually have a mixtape out. If you want to go check it out, it's on SoundCloud under Hercules the Rapper. It's interesting. But I would really like to get into rapping and spend, I don't know how many hours a week, but make it a thing that's part of my routine that like I don't fail on. I realize right now I have too many things going on to add that to the mix, but I'm trying to get to a point within the next year or two where I can cut some other things out and I can make that part of my weekly routine. Which brings me to my next point, which is, I don't know how I'd call this, like something, I'm too spread out. I have like spread out fatigue. I'm fatigued of having so many things to manage. I don't know if you guys ever get that, but I definitely do, and I'll talk about it in a second after this delicious bite. Ready? You guys ever fold your pizza slices or eat them backwards? With really big pizza, I'll roll them all the way up so it's like a burrito. I eat the whole thing like a burrito. Like a weirdo, dude. Pizza with a lot of flour on the bottom. This is maybe more than I usually do, but I actually really like that. I think it's very good. If you guys don't know already, I have my main channel here, obviously. And then I have another channel that's for acne. It's called Team Acne. And then I have another channel that is for investments. That's Brian Turner Invests. And that's the most recent one. It's been open for a couple of months. Something I've always wanted to do. Now, in addition to that, I've got a ton of other things that I have to manage. Like, for example, last year I worked on my acne program, which literally took the entire year. It's 5 different books. It's this program that you go through that can help you basically go from having a ton of acne to naturally getting rid of your acne, but it takes you through this course And so that's got a video course and all this stuff. I've got so many things that I'm trying to manage that sometimes I feel like even when I get, maybe I have 6 things to do that day, or I have 6 things on my to-do list. Even if I get 5 of the things done off that to-do list, because I didn't get the 6th thing done, I feel like I'm failing myself. And I don't know if this has to do with like imposter syndrome. I know you probably have heard of this before, but imposter syndrome is when you talk yourself down and you say that you're not good enough, or you're not worth it, or you can't make it, or it's just not made out for you. You're not cut out for it. Someone else is, and you're just not. And I don't know if that's what this is, but I sometimes will feel like I'm failing myself because I'll be doing all these things that I want to get done, and then I'll look over and I'll say, oh, I haven't posted on Instagram in like 5 days. And instead of looking at all the content that I've made and posted on 3 different channels and all this other stuff, all these emails that I'm taking care of and stuff, helping my parents, retiring, taking 3 days out of the week to go with them, all this stuff. But then I'm like, oh, but I haven't posted on Instagram for 5 days. So I'm failing. And for some reason, my brain doesn't like credit myself for all the other things I've done. It just says, there's that one thing, and it's blaring red. It's like an alarm, and it's just going, you didn't do this. And it's something that I'm working on. And then the other problem, I bet a bunch of you guys relate with this, but I have a hard time taking time off, which I do need. I need to balance working and playing and working and just straight up relaxing. But anytime I'm relaxing, or anytime I'm going to the park and playing and slacklining stuff, I think, is there anything I could be doing that I'm maybe like avoiding right now? It's definitely a struggle. It's definitely not the easiest thing in the world. Cheers. Another one. Ow. So this dough batch, this is 1/3 of the dough. There's still 2/3 left. This is the best dough ever. I actually got the recipe originally from Vegan Zombie, Chris Cooney. And then I kind of like adjusted his recipe and added a bunch of different things like olive oil and garlic powder and stuff. Oh my gosh. It's like I'm eating powdered donuts. I have this absolutely weekly. It's so freaking good. Finally got back to the gym, which is an amazing update. I think a lot of my mental health during the pandemic, the panorama, the Panasonic that we all went through, I did so good throughout most of it. Towards the tail end of it, I was really struggling because I didn't have my physical outlet. And I know you guys probably have something similar, but for me, the gym, just anything I'm struggling with, any sort of like bad feelings or anything like that, when I go to the gym, I'm able to just take all the stress, all the things I'm supposed to be focusing on, and just put it to the side. That's like one of the only times that I can say this is not wasted time. You can completely zone in on this, work your butt off, listen to your music, try your hardest. And when I get out of it, I feel like $1,000,000. I feel so good. For so long, not having the gym available, not having weights available, not having the equipment available, really just having a couple of dumbbells and a couple barbells, it was cool to push myself in a different way, but it just wasn't the same. And going back to the gym, it has been absolutely glorious. That being said, while it has been a big relief, like I said, I still have been kind of a little wonky in my head. I have to maybe take a step back and give myself some credit, and also come up with a better plan and realize, what's my goal with all my social media stuff and all the things that I'm doing with work, and what should I prioritize? You know what I mean? In the long run, at some point, I do want to be taking rap very seriously. Like, I really want to be like writing and putting out music, selling it, things like that. But what's the timeline? What's the priority for that? Do I worry about buying a house and getting property before I do that? Do I start working on that even though it doesn't make money, and take, some priority off of other things that do make money? It's really hard. It's hard to say, but cheers. Wow. Oh my gosh. This is a little update on me. It's happening with my life. It's happening with my mental space. I think a lot of people think I'm always positive, which generally I am. I actually talked to my friends about this a couple weeks ago, and I was saying, like, no matter how low life gets, there's always a couple things that you can count on. Food, which I know that kind of sounds weird because people have, problems with food. But for me, you have taste. It's an amazing thing to be able to do. Have a cold watermelon on a hot day, stuff like that. You always have the ability to get a dog who will be your absolute best friend. He doesn't care what you screwed up lately. He doesn't care nothing. He doesn't judge you at all. He's your best friend. And you have the ability to travel and do anything you want. Right, traveling certain ways costs money and stuff, but like, you could literally just get on a bike and start moving around America. Like, so yeah, I don't know. I always say, like, there is an infinite possibility to be happy. And there's never a spot where in my life I would say this sucks and I just hate life. It's just ebbs and flows. That's what I always tell my friends whenever they're having a hard time. I say, you know what? You're just going through an ebb. A flow is coming soon. And I also always tell myself that. So anyways, so I want to talk about some other stuff, some vegan stuff that's very interesting. So one of the things that I saw was that there's a trainer out there, I don't know his name, but he gained over 50 pounds. He's a vegan trainer. He gained over 50 pounds just to show that you can eat a whole foods plant-based diet to lose weight. So he deliberately added like 55 pounds of body fat so that he can then, over the next couple of months, show you how easy it is to lose those 55 pounds. What do you guys think about that? I have a whole thought process, but what do you guys think about that? Let me know in the comments below. Doughy, saucy deliciousness. Girl, you're so good. I understand. It's funny because I actually had this idea when I was a kid. I used to always think like, I understand that everyone has their own struggles and stuff, but I used to say, man, I wish I could jump into people's minds, like Neuralink, take over their bodies, charge them for like 3 months, and I just do all the training and all the food work, and then they just come back in their body. And I'm like, all right, I lost that 35 pounds, you gained an inch on your biceps, let's go, fam. I always wanted that. And then I always said, it'd be interesting to gain a bunch of body fat and then lose it, and then you could kind of be like, you know, have a little bit more of an idea of what it's like to be, you know, obese or overweight. And now I've seen, this isn't the first guy, I've seen this happen a bunch of times. Now, the only flaw I see in this though, or the big flaw rather, is that you didn't start as like an actually obese or overweight person. You started as a super fit guy, super shredded. It'd be like if I added a bunch of body fat and then lost it. It would be like, well, you know, if I was an overweight person or obese person, I'd be looking saying, well, you've always grown up being pretty lean, having a six pack, having muscles. So of course you had to force yourself to gain that fat. Then your body naturally wanted to lose it. So after you stop eating, you know, excessive and you start eating the way you used to eat, you just naturally started dropping the weight. I see what he's trying to do. I think it'll be good in the long run, but I do think that for different people, it's a lot easier to lose fat. So I don't know. What do you guys think about that? I've got 2 pieces left right here. Okay, so the other thing that I thought was really interesting in the vegan news today was that they predict that 40% of all meat that's consumed in America, like real meat, will be lab-grown meat within a decade. I've kind of always said this. When the whole lab-grown meat debate started getting talked about, where people were like, I would never eat that. I can't believe they're trying to make vegans eat this. And I always said, I don't know if this is for vegans. I don't think lab-grown meat is to replace like tofurkey. I think vegans will eat tofurkey and tofu and tempeh, like always. I think lab-grown meat is actually more pointed towards people who are interested in the ecological impact, who are trying to like better their carbon footprint, but also I think just people who are maybe vegan interested. Like they don't really know why, but they've tried a Beyond Burger, an Impossible Burger. They've tried a little vegan thing here or there. They haven't really thought it all the way through, but they just know that they kind of want to do that more. They're not willing to give up what they're used to, and that's where lab-grown meat comes in. I think a lot of people are going to be like, oh, so that's basically the same, you know, impact as eating vegan, except I don't have to really change anything. I just have to buy the meat that says LG on it, lab grown. And that is why I think it's going to grow hugely. But then also, I think after lab grown meat gets really effective, I think eventually it'll actually flip and it'll be cheaper than growing animals and slaughtering them. I think they'll be able to make mass grow centers, which is really nasty if you think about it, but like these huge laboratories, I guess you call them, but like factory-sized laboratories that are just growing vats and vats of synthetic lab-grown meat. I feel like I'm talking about like a dystopia. Like it doesn't even sound real to me. It sounds so ridiculous. You just like open a barrel and you like pull it up and you just have like this big, weird, living, like cellular grown meat. It's a weird idea. I don't know. What do you guys think? What do you guys think? Do you think that's a legit number? Do you think 40% of all the meat that's out there will be lab grown by 10 years from now? And bonus question, would you eat lab grown meat? One last little thing I wanted to mention. I don't know, one thing I just kind of want to rant about. I don't even know if this is relevant or if I should maybe not even say this. Forgive me if I step on some toes here. But last week I had a girl, she messaged me and she's like, hey, well actually she commented and said, hey, how come you haven't responded to my DM yet? I can't believe that you would ignore Alzheimer's and the seriousness that you know it is, and like I can't believe you wouldn't support research, all this stuff. And I was like, what are we talking about? So I went and checked her message, basically the same message, but then earlier she had told me like one of her grandparents or something was going through it, and then she found this like foundation, this nonprofit. She wanted me to like share it on my story and all this stuff. And first off, amazing. I think it's always good to share a good cause. I think it's always good to get involved with things that are good. My grandma went through Alzheimer's and I watched it, and it's really a hard thing. It's sad. But the thing I'm ranting about is the fact that this girl just assumed that, like, I just looked at her message and just was, nah. Instead of thinking, maybe he just didn't see my message. She thought, man, this guy's nefarious. He sucks. He looked at my message and said,
I don't care about anything except for whatever I care about.
And this is a trend that's going on right now, is that whenever somebody is interested in something, they're interested in something that's helpful for the world, that's a relevant topic, that's a current topic. If you aren't talking about it too, then you are bad. Like, you are evil. And I always say there are 100,000 different really, really important things that we should all be paying attention to. Really important movements that are happening. Really important, lights that are being shined on situations that we should be focusing on. But it's literally impossible for somebody who, like me, like a social content creator, to cover it all, right? And also, a lot of times people are focusing on the thing that everybody's focusing on, but I'm like, that doesn't take away the other 100, 1,000, 2,000, whatever, the other tons of different things that are still relevant and still need people's support. It's just they're not, in the limelight right now. And I always just think it's funny that people will they literally will make fun of you. They'll literally yell at you and tell you that you're like a bad person just because you're not on the same exact thing as they are. And I'm like, granted, I get it. It's something that's affecting you personally right now. But if you were to post once a day about a different topic that needs focusing on, like retinal degenerative disease, where people go blind. How come we aren't researching on this? Alzheimer's, brain degenerative disorders, muscular degenerative disorders. You would have to post every single day, and after a year, you wouldn't even scratch the surface. So I don't know. I always just think people's expectations for social media creators are so high. And I go look in their page, and I'm like, you haven't posted about the thing that you're telling me to post about. You're yelling at me for not being responsible. You're not even being responsible. I don't know. How do you guys feel about that? Here's my last bite. That's a big bite. There's two different mukbangs. There's people who talk a lot and have like a talk video, and there's people who don't really talk at all, and they just they go, it's like they're like orgasming all over their food. But, different strokes, different folks. But I can never watch those types of videos because the amount of mouth slapping and tongue, it's too much for me. And it makes me want to run straight into a wall. I don't know. There's a different type of mukbang than I usually do because usually I don't have a nice mic really close. It's a little bit over there, so you can't really hear the mouth noise. It's more about the talking. I want to know what you guys think. Did you like this style of mukbang? Does the extra mic, is it better? Is it worse? Do you mind the mouth noises? What do you think? If you have anything to add to any of these talks, any of the discussions that I talked about in this video, I'd love to hear it. I'd love to have a conversation with you in the comments below. I'd love to do more mukbangs in the future if you guys want to check that out. And next week I'll be doing another full day of eating as I'm hopefully getting back into training for mountaineering and hiking. So anyways, I appreciate you guys. I got a couple crust pieces right here I'm going to eat and throw the rest to my chickens and my dog. If you guys enjoyed the video, give it a big ol' thumbs up. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. Subscribe if you're not subscribed already. Remember that I freaking love you and I appreciate your support. And I will see you beautiful people in the very next video. Peace. Team Beyond Week.